This part of the world is interesting. Has many histories. We imagine its deeper indigenous history. It then went through various stages of dairy farming and other forms of colonial agriculture from this part of Victoria, overlooking a vast expanse of coastline with the outlook to Bass Strait. Hello, I'm John Wardle, founding partner of Wardle, a firm of architects responsible for Bass Coast Farmhouse. Leading into this came the idea of the quintessential Australian farmhouse, but maybe we could be so reductive and reducing it to 3 elements only. A very simple plan, a steel roof, timber walls and a single chimney, which then led to probably the second primary strategy, which is the way it sits on the earth. So you will notice in this film are areas of revegetation. Surrounding the house, a mass of these little plastic containers to nurture the growth of indigenous planting in swathes that we sort of imagine work with the topography and our understanding of the landscape as a protective armature for the house, but also as part of the first phase of reworking the landscape over the entire area of this 300 acres, which was at one stage cleared completely as farmland. It appears upon arrival almost cartoon-like, reduced just down to those 3 elements, which then allows the adventure of the reading of the house to commence. The single opening of the front door to reveal a mud and boot and coat room is that classic arrival at a farmhouse. From there you look into a completely inner courtyard, which really sets in train much of the understanding of being in this house. It is a rectangle surrounded by a passage. The journey around the house is a sequence of experience of spaces that are set off this one route. The sleeping zones and their orientation back into the courtyard are like a series of separate suites of a double bedroom, an interconnected bathroom, and a bunk room. On the alternate sides of the plan are the 2 living zones. This one much more about the functionality of dining, large-scale living in these various parts down this great long chamber. And in the far corner, this teeny little room, which is much more about playing board games or nighttime activities. Hence this internalising of what could have been an external veranda into an inner court creates some quite unusual spaces in all of the 4 corners. It's like the idea of tactility, somewhere there that's drawing you into touch and feel the edges of space or the details within space. So here, thought was winding a handle that creates electricity that will crank open these massive shutters. This reaching between amazing high technology and then that sort of primal desire for being connected to something and being in control of the operation of an element such as a shutter. What's interesting as we then walk around, as we carve into it with the settings of the kitchen in this corner, the other living room in that corner, the principal bedroom, as we open various of the shutters, allow pools of light to then come in and change and create variant areas of illumination within this sort of moody setting that's been created. We've looked very carefully at the utilisation of materials, particularly natural materials. Timber used internally is either recycled, as in the floor, or ply, so a veneered plywood. It is solid timber on the outside, but it is spotted gum, a Category 1 Australian eucalypt. To us, it's the most efficient way environmentally of utilising such timber that really should stand the test of time. A very singular framework of materials, broken only by a few moments, the tiles in the kitchens and the bathrooms and the glass in the windows. For me, there's sort of a discipline at work here, the neutral palette providing few distractions from an appreciation of the spatial qualities and its outlook into various moments set within the landscape. The big idea, if there is a big idea, is that it's a house that expresses the relationship of the floor to terra firma. The concrete floor goes right along this wing, along the other, and then back to the point where the floor becomes timber. And there's a reason for that. The concrete floor has fallen to earth. It's followed the alignment of the topography and fallen down through this staircase down to the external kitchen and external dining area. We'll set in concrete and zinc down below. And at that point, it seems to have shattered as the roof and the walls continue over this vast void and fallen to earth as this one singular little staircase and these planks of concrete. It's almost as if they've been broken as they've fallen from their place in alignment with the rest of the plan on the natural gradient with a series of sort of settings for people to sit and socialise on down below. I think I've had a lot of success over the years of being both curious and enthusiastic. They're two parts that I think allow us to invite others in. Projects like this are life-affirming. Our practice is a large practice. We build very big buildings, but there's still something that's essentially human about those more intimate requirements we have for the space that we spend so much of our life within.